My mom just asked me how much weight I've lost, and I said 10 pounds. She said that's too much weight. Do you know what my response is to that? I'm a bratty girl. I do what I want. It's my hot body. And it's morning time. It's 4 p.m. There's a fucking gang stalkers outside already, going with a machine. And to all the normies who are saying, "Well, that's insane. You're just grandiose." That's just a machine. They're just doing their yard snipping or something. That's just a one headlight car. That's just someone coughing. That's just someone rubbing their face near you. That's just someone coincidentally talking about what you were talking about in the privacy of your own home, mimicking your conversation. It's just a coincidence. Just a coincidence that as soon as you get outside, someone starts chainsawing a tree. Totally just coincidence. You can see how they're Nazism, not the normies. Although some people argue that the normies are most responsible because they're the ones who are most capable of stopping it. The ones who go along, they just pretend like nothing's wrong. They turn a blind eye. Subconsciously, they know. There was this one speaker on the Jimmy Dore show, and she said that in America, we are the largest organized crime and drug trafficking country in the world. And I forget exactly how she explained it, but the gist of it was the enlightened people who come to her show, the spiritually awakened, healthy, conscious people who come to her show, she did some kind of survey, and the results showed with your stimulus check, you won't stop it. If you could push a button that says stop all drug trafficking, stop all the violence, but as a condition, your stimulus check is gonna go away. 100 out of 100 people just about are gonna say, "Don't push the button." And she says that it's also because of a certain lie that's getting smaller. It's a really big lie that we're the good guys, so we're not going to war to steal their resources or something like that. We're going to war to protect democracy. And so people basically rationalize the organized crime and trafficking of the global superpowers that they live in and that they get stimulus checks from and benefits from as, well, we're the good guys. We're just doing the good thing. And that lie is getting smaller and less people are believing it. And the stimulus checks are getting smaller too. So she seemed to think, because she said that she was writing some book and she got anonymous death threats. She never mentioned anything about gang stalking, but this is she's on the Jimmy Dore show. He has millions of subscribers, I think, at least 1 million. When she was publishing her book about the corruption, she got what she said was subtle death threats about people in her family getting killed. And she said she's now waiting to publish her book until those people who gave her those death threats are dead. And so I guess that would imply that she thinks that there's going to be some kind of revolution. She was a very matter-of-fact kind of person. You know, she was fat, but she was competent too. You know, she was like really competent. She never jostled her words. You know, she was very precise, very concise. What else did she say? She said one other thing that I liked. I can't remember. Kind of worried I shouldn't say she's fat, but she's cool. But she was very articulate. I don't think I could get that fat with being articulate. I kind of get drowsy when I'm fat. I think maybe I've heard some people who are more fat, they're actually less toxic because you could store your toxins in your fat. Whereas if you're skinny, all the toxic stuff you're eating is going right into your blood more. And so it's like you could actually be healthier by being fat, maybe, especially if you're hydrated. So maybe I'm off the mark there. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing she said. While she was writing her book, she talked about having difficulties with it because of severe physical harassment. She didn't say from who, but it sounded exactly like gang stalking. I have a feeling that a ton of people are gang stalked, and most people don't know it. Because when I watch YouTube videos of people, there are certain people who are dissidents, and when they're out eating a piece of pizza, there's a fire truck going by and there's cars honking and there's people saying loud things in the background, obnoxiously, fakely talking, and it makes me kind of suspicious that a lot of people are gang stalked. And of course they say, I think, I've heard this on Quora, someone said, if you realize gang stalking and you report it to the police are told it's because you're doing something wrong. That in order for you to notice it, you have to be doing something wrong. And to me, that kind of implied that if you notice it, it means that they're trying to deter you from doing some wrong behavior. But why wouldn't they say what it is? Why wouldn't they tell you what it is? Why do they have to say, we're deterring you from this wrong behavior, but we can't tell you. We have to tell you secretly. I mean, if they're actually in the right, they would be able to say, hey, look, you're doing this wrong behavior. We're here to stop you. Like, here's the evidence that you're doing this wrong behavior. We're here to stop you. And what if you're just more intelligent that you can see them stalking you? Like, what if you're more intelligent to go against the programming? Like, against the programming being that you're told you're not being gang stalked. You're told you have constitutional rights. You're told that the police are not human traffickers and drug traffickers. And the mass murder in 2019 was just a protection of people. What if you're smart enough to see that it's all bullshit? So you clearly see gang stalking too. And then the police and the gang stalkers are trained to say, actually, that means that you must be doing something wrong if you noticed us, because we work in the shadows. And if you notice us, it's because you're really doing something wrong and we got to stop you. We have to stop you by falsely diagnosing you with a mental illness, putting you in the fucking mental ward, even though we know that you don't have a mental illness. I mean, what kind of hero is that? What kind of upstanding citizen works based in manipulation and lying and hypocrisy? I mean, to call a criminal when you're a criminal is one thing, but to call someone who's not a criminal when you're a criminal, that's like the total. I don't like the term the pot calling the kettle black because it implies that both are black. It's like severe, like next level lying hypocrisy. Anyway, so it's day 4. I'm down at 200 pounds, point something, I think. Yeah, 200.8, I think. Maybe it was 201. I think it was 200. Oh, and I got about 10 hours of sleep. I slept well. I made a point to sleep well. I also drank 6 liters of water yesterday, and that's very important to get enough sleep. If you don't drink enough water, you're not going to get enough sleep. So 10 hours of sleep, at least. I went to bed at 5 something, and I woke up at 4 p.m. I stopped drinking water about an hour before bed, just to have some relaxed time, and just to kind of stop myself from peeing. I don't know how I'm going to do it later on when I have to presumably drink more, because I don't want to be finishing my last sip of water, then going to bed, then waking up 3 times to pee. I've been peeing less, I think. I'm not exactly sure, but I think I've been peeing less. Normally I pee every 250 milliliters. I think I've been peeing more like one every 400 milliliters now. And so when you eat cooked food, there's a fraction of a crumb of food, like a fraction of a gram that goes into your small intestines in the lower part where it's all curvy and bendy, gets stuck, and then it accumulates to like 10 or 20 pounds over the years. And so crap is 75% water when you shit it out, but this crap in the old intestines is like 1 or 2% water, like stuck on your intestines. So you have to hydrate it first. Like, I don't know how much percent water it is, but it's very dry, like a dry sponge. And so if you run water over a dry sponge, it just bounces off. But when you run it over for a while, then it starts to absorb. So the first week of water fasting, you don't need so much water because it's just bouncing off the old crap anyway. So then you don't really hydrate it. But then after the first week, the water starts going into the old crap. So you have to drink more water then. So once I get past the first week, it's going to be more difficult to drink more water because already 6 liters is how I'm drinking the first week. And that's without that old, that's 12 hours shift. And I'm only up for like 14 hours. And there's like 1 hour that kind of gets lost in the between time. You know, I'm setting up stuff. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm maybe washing my hair. I'm just forgetting for a few minutes. I mean, yesterday I didn't really forget. I was pretty much on track, but I might have like an hour and a half of cool down time before I go to bed to get the remaining water out of my bladder and body so I could go to sleep without having to wake up right away to pee. And so once it's going to be next week and I'm going to have to drink like 14 hours worth of water, that might be, I might have to get less sleep. I don't really know how I'm going to do that. I don't know if 6 liters the whole time would actually be sufficient. Otherwise, I'm a little bit lightheaded today. Not much. I still have pretty much like a lot of energy. I also just woke up. My suspicion is that by the time I'm in the middle of the day, maybe halfway, just even in an hour from now, I'll be able to move around and you wouldn't even know I'm water fasting if I didn't tell you, because I'm drinking so consistently. And the difference between 4 liters and 6 liters is like a boiling point. Like there's a certain change that happens that it's completely different once you get to 6 liters. Once you're getting your needs met, you're like, you can like walk around. I could go for a bike ride if I wanted. Like I could do basically, anything, and it would not look like I'm water fasting. But in the morning time, I'm a little bit lightheaded, a little bit sitting up and then waiting a minute and then standing up. But it's nothing like it was the last time I water fasted, which I did for 1 week. And back then I was not drinking so consistently. I was drinking maybe 4 liters, 3, sometimes even 2 liters in a day. And I was doing it really inconsistently. And then when I would stand up, I'd actually feel like I was going to faint. Now, if I went for an hour or two this morning without drinking water, I'd be having horrible chest pain, really tight, scary chest pain. I'd be fucking having like lightheadedness. I'd barely be able to stand up. It'd be horrible. And this is a cashmere sweater I'm wearing. I got it for fucking a present. Okay, cashmere is not vegan. And it shrunk in the damn dryer. So now I'm a bratty girl when I wear it. I want to stretch it out. I think I'm doing a little bit better emotionally too. Life's kind of difficult for me. I feel I had some kind of mental crisis yesterday and the day before. And I'm kind of coming out of that. And the result of it was I wasn't really friendly. I kind of felt like everyone was my enemy. And I sort of feel like the guy in the movie Troy, where Troy kills Hector, and then Hector's dad comes to take Hector's body, and Troy is like fucked its corpse through the eye sockets and stuff. And Troy is like, "Aren't you angry that I skull fucked your son, your dead son?" And Hector's dad is like, well, even enemies can have respect for each other. And, I'm not sure. There's a lot of people who I don't know if they're gang stalkers or not, and sometimes I don't know if they're my enemy. But I can have respect for everyone, at least. Like, I don't feel like a sort of anger, like just like, like a bitter kind of anger, like, I don't know what to say. I kind of want to say I could have love for everyone. I think that's something that if I say that, the karmic scale will tip over to the other side, and some gang stalker will piss me off, and then I'll be thinking of how much I hate them and how much I hope they get punished, and so I don't want to say that. But what I mean to say is I'm just more friendly. Like, I feel better about myself, really. And yesterday and the day before, I had a kind of identity crisis and like a self-esteem meltdown. And yesterday, I don't know if I should talk about this. I don't even want to set any kind of ideas in my mind. Yesterday, I started thinking about getting fucking pad thai. Started thinking, just break the fast, dude. Just don't jack off. Just keep drinking water, and you got it. God. Started thinking about that. But then last night, after I was finished drinking water and I kind of cooled down and I was playing video games, I felt really good. And I also had a lot of progress in my meditation as well in my self-esteem. I also had some very crisp, clear, distinct separations between my low self-esteem and my high self-esteem. And I said to myself, you only found this. You only had the intelligence to find how you've been fucked up because you're healthier. And whatever you eat and whatever you put in your body, that changes millions and millions of things. And you wouldn't have been able to figure this out had you not taken care of your body. And don't think you're out of Shawshank yet, because you used to be very clean inside, very pure, and now you feel all fucked up. And you're just realizing that this, like, you got out of the isolation, solitary confinement prison cell in the Shawshank, so you got out of there into the general public, and you might think that you're free now, but you have to keep going because you're going to learn even more stuff. The more healthy you get, the more clear your mind's going to think, the more you're going to realize how you've been traumatized, and then that trauma kept getting reinforced through torture trauma conditioning, and then it became normal, and then you actually forgot how you used to be before you were traumatized. And so remember that this is a precedent, that as you're getting more healthy, you're finding your consciousness, your healthy state of consciousness again, and you wouldn't have been able to do that had you eaten the pad thai. So don't think for even 1 second that that's a good idea, that that's a good trade-off for you, because remember, you're not even hungry too. That's the other thing. It's just a craving. You're craving the taste. You're not, and some people argue if you're craving the taste, it means there's some kind of nutrient in it that you need, but I'm not hungry. Like, it's something else. It's like, yeah, okay, like you could probably, I mean, what if you just eat the cake? I mean, is that like, I crave the taste of sugar, does that taste like, I think there's a line too, like your body could tell what it needs to eat, but there's also a line where you're like, I just want to eat a double patty grease burger because I like the taste. Something about it is I crave the effect it's going to give me. How do you distinguish? You think it's the taste, but maybe it's the effect you're going to have. You're going to, and you're water fasting, the effect is going to be pronounced. So last night at the end of the night, I was thinking, definitely, even if it's unrealistic, to promise yourself to go the full 21 days or 30 days, but at least 21 to get the old crap out. At least promise yourself to get to the end of day 4, and you're going to have something on day 4 is going to happen that you're going to go, this was so good, I think I'm going to go to day 5. And so that's my plan so far today. I mean, seems pretty natural. I don't have to think about it. I didn't wake up contemplating going to the restaurant. I'm sure family would help me. I'm pretty broke. I have $60 for the rest of the month. I'm sure family would say, well, if you're going to eat, we'll get you the food. I guess they're just worried. I think it's well-intentioned. I'm doing pretty good at holding my own for arguing about, hey, I'm I'm a responsible person. You should trust me more. You know, I'm doing a water fast here, and you should trust me that I've done my research. You know, now admittedly, the expert of water fasting, Lord Lockwood, he would say, do not water fast unsupervised. I get emails every single week from someone who's water fasted and they fucked themselves up real bad, and now they're in big trouble and they're looking for help. Don't do it. It's you could get away with a week, but anything longer than that, and you could really, really hurt yourself. Now, I think Lauren has also fasted unsupervised. I think he taught himself how to fast. So I guess how can I listen to him if he broke his own rule at the beginning? Well, I think that's about it. I have to spit up some phlegm. That landed picturesquely on a log that's burnt, so you can see the contrast between the spit and the log. I'd say it's pretty cool. Oh, you know what? We had this ant. We had 2 ants. One was, I think, a queen ant. She had wings. In my room, there's a fucking spider on me, a jumping spider, and she's lived in my room for months. Last night, she was crawling on my legs, so I took her outside. And then there's this other ant that lives in my room, a male ant, and he was crawling on my bed sheet, so I put him outside too. So I moved them outside. There's a white unmarked police van. What the fuck, you jumping spider? Get out of here. Oh my god, this spider is just crazy. My god.